do 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 do.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Nerd Central. I'm your host, Mary Grace Rice, and this week we have our flashback special of Movie Madness. We have a full show for you guys with the next installment of Mighty Morphin Madness and reviews of Tron Legacy, Quest for Camelot, and Game Over Man. Plus, my producer Andy enters the ring to battle Showdown hosts Devin and Goku vs. Superman. But first, let's talk about some movie news. Another reboot is on the way, and now we know the cast. Voyage of Dr. Dolittle is the third time the 1920s children's book by Hugh Lofting has been adapted for the big screen. The new film will star Iron Man himself, Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Dolittle, and Kumail Nanjiani, John Cena, Selena Gomez, Tom Holland, and Marion Cotillard voicing some of the animals Dr. Dolittle is able to talk to. The last time we've seen a Dr. Dolittle film was back in 2010 with Kyla Pratt starring as Dr. Dolittle's daughter, and the last time we've seen Dr. Dolittle on the big screen was in 2001 with Eddie Murphy playing the role. The film is scheduled to release on April 12, 2019. Now, let's take it to Keegan Cooper to see who the real user is.
Hey, what's up everybody? It's Keegan Cooper here from Nerd Central, and last week I promised you that we would dive in and see who the true user is. So without further ado, let's get to my review of Tron Legacy. Now, young Sam, the son of famous video game developer Kevin Flint, has been haunted for a long time by his father's mysterious disappearance. A strange signal draws Sam to Flynn's arcade, and he is pulled into the cyber world in which his father has created, and has been trapped there for 20 years. Now at first, Sam is convinced that his father is gone, but he can't explain why he's in this world or why he has been drawn to the arcade. But he will go on an amazing adventure, using all kinds of different things, from light cycles to infinity disc, to defeat the CLU, something that his father had created within the cyber world, to rescue his father and save the world. This is one of the greatest plot lines ever. Think about it. A father has gone missing and a son must dive into something that their father has created to save him. The reunion between father and son, between Sam and Kevin, is just an amazing thing, and just the adventure that he goes on. Not only is this movie graphic and aesthetically pleasing, it is just amazing. Tron is one of those movies that you've got to see at least once in your life. There's nothing ever like it. Where else are you going to see a father who has been gone for 20 years and then a son rescues him by diving into what his father has created, let alone a video game? I mean, if you ever played Tron, this movie is, that in itself, it's so good. I can't really say anything more about it because I don't want to spoil it. Overall, Tron Legacy is a great action-packed film filled with great actors, a great director, and a great storyline. If you truly want to ride the light cycle like you did in the old-time arcade game, then watch Tron Legacy, because I promise you that it will take you on that journey. That's all the time I've got for you this week here on Nerd Central. I'm Keegan Cooper. Thanks everybody for listening and watching. Join me next week when we find out if the house across the street really is haunted, with my review of Monster House.
Thanks, Keegan. There's a third film that has been in development hell since Legacy was released. It took 28 years to get a sequel, so we will just have to wait and see. Now let's talk about some more movie news. Typically, we know the title of films coming out in the next few years, but when they hide it from us, that means the title is vital to avoid spoilers. In a Twitter conversation with a fan, directors of Infinity War, Anthony and Joe Russo, said the title of Avengers 4 should scare Marvel fans while also spoiling Infinity War. A couple days after that exchange, the Russo brothers posted on social media for everyone that sees the movie to not spoil it for everyone else. The directing duo are about to head out for Infinity War's press tour and are not showing the entire film, which is unusual as most films are screened to the press about a month prior to theatrical release. They also added that the actual plot of the movie is still a secret. All of us here at Nerd Central will adhere to the request of the Russo brothers and not spoil the film until after the release on April 27th. Now let's take it to Haley Southard's review of Quest for Camelot.
Hi, this is Haley Southard from Nerd Central, and today I will be talking about the 1998 film Quest for Camelot. With music by David Foster and Carol Bayer Sager, Quest for Camelot is a musical story about adventure, excitement, and finding the courage to do the right thing during a time of King Arthur and the Round Table. Main characters include Kaylee, Garrett, Ruber, and a two-headed dragon named Devon and Cornwall. Kaylee wanted to become a knight just like her father. However, fate had other plans. A knight named Ruber challenges King Arthur for the throne and the Sword of Excalibur. Ruber's griffin succeeds in taking the sword, but not before dropping it into the enchanted forest. Kaylee is now grown up and still dreams of becoming a knight just like her father. But her life gets turned around when Ruber demands that her mother, Juliana, travel to Camelot with him in order to overthrow King Arthur. As she escapes, Kaylee is chased into the enchanted forest by Ruber's men, where she meets Garrett, a brave hero who joins her on her journey to Camelot. Along the way, Kaylee meets a two-headed dragon who cannot fly. After finding the sword, Garrett returns to the enchanted forest for fear of acceptance in Camelot, and Kaylee gets captured Once by in Ruber. Camelot, Ruber and his men attack, destroying everything in their path. Kaylee and her friends fight back, and eventually both the sword and the throne are returned to Arthur. As a reward, both Kaylee and Garrett are knighted and find their happy ending. I enjoy this film because of the amazing storytelling and incredible music. I like that there is a story that takes place around the legend of King Arthur. As for music, of course each character has their own song. My personal favorite songs are The Prayer by Celine Dion,
I pray you'll be mine eyes and watch her where she goes. Lead her to a place, guide her to a place. Give her faith so she'll be saved.
On My Father's Wings by Andrea Corr,
And I can feel his heartbeat still, and I will do great things on my Father's wings.
and Looking Through Your Eyes by Andrea Corr and Brian White.
Looking through your eyes, looking through your eyes.
But don't trust my opinion. Watch it and decide for yourself. That's all from me. This is Haley Southard with Nerd Central. Stay nerdy.
Thanks, Haley. We're going to take a short break, but stay tuned as we have another installment of Mighty Morphin Madness and my review of Game Over Man. You're watching Nerd Central's flashback special of Movie Madness. Stay with us.
Do 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 do.
Welcome back to Nerd Central's flashback special of Movie Madness. Let's take it straight to the next installment of Mighty Morphin Madness with Zach Brown.
Welcome to another episode of Mighty Morphin Madness with me, your host, Zach Brown, where we're going to talk about everybody's favorite teenagers with attitude, the Power Rangers.
What is that odious stench? Smells like
Teenagers.
In this episode, I'm going to share with you my top 5 Red Rangers. The Red Power Ranger is the main leader for most of the seasons and is a fan favorite. All 25 seasons have had a Red Ranger, so there are many that can't make this top 5 list. Let's start with number 5. TJ Johnson, Red Turbo Ranger, number 2, Power Rangers Turbo. TJ Johnson, a baseball player, became the Red Turbo Ranger after the original Turbo Rangers gave their powers to a new batch of teenagers. His most notable moment came in the episode Trouble by the Slice, where TJ and the Rangers are almost baked into a giant pizza by the Mad Mike Pizza Monster. TJ would also become the Blue Ranger in Power Rangers in Space. TJ was also notable for being the first Black Red Ranger of the entire series. Number 4. Tommy Oliver,
Zeo Ranger 5 Red, and Red Turbo Ranger. Tommy Oliver, the greatest Power Ranger that ever lived, was 2 different Red Rangers, the only character to do so. In Zeo, he led the team of Rangers to take down the Machine Empire, and in Power Rangers Turbo, he battled Divatox until he gave the powers to number 5 on our list, TJ. Tommy is number 4 on the list because even though he is the greatest Power Ranger, his time as the Red Ranger is considered the least notable. Number 3, Leo Corbett, Red Galaxy Ranger, Power Rangers Lost Galaxy. Leo was the Red Ranger that led the Galaxy Rangers to defeating the evil villain Trakina and saving the colony planet Terra Venture. After his brother Mike pulled the red Quasar Saber from the rock, he was attacked and fell into a pit. Leo had to become the Red Ranger and at first was not trusted but gained the trust of his team of Rangers eventually. His brother did eventually return as the Magna Defender, and the brothers got to work together to save the galaxy. Number 2, Jason Scott, Mighty Morphin Red Ranger, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. The original Red Ranger, who led the original teenagers with attitude in fighting the evil Rita Repulsa and later Lord Zed. Jason Scott was the original face and leader of the Power Rangers with his advanced knowledge of karate, helping him fight the monsters that were thrown at him. Actor Austin St. John left the show in the 2nd season after a contract dispute, and his character gave his powers to the 2nd Red Ranger of the series, Rocky. Jason would return as the Gold Zeo Ranger to help Tommy and the Rangers and Power Rangers Zeo. Jason Scott will always be considered one of the best Power Rangers period because of his strong leadership skills and strong karate skills. Number 1, Andros, Red Space Ranger, Power Rangers in Space. Andros the Red Space Ranger is my all-time favorite. At first, Andros worked alone without a team to try and save Zordon. When the former Turbo Rangers arrived in space, he refused their help, insisting he could do it by himself. He eventually needs help and leads his team to try and save Zordon. Andros' story of him also trying to find his long-lost sister is my favorite story arc in any season. Andros is also very well known for killing Zordon in order to rid the world of evil, something he didn't want to do, but Zordon insisted. Andros will forever be my favorite Red Ranger because of his deep character history and fantastic story arc. This has been Mighty Morphin Madness, now back to Nerd Central.
Right, yeah! I gotta admit, you did well, rookie.
Thanks, Zach. Let's talk about some TV news. It's that time of year for networks to renew and cancel shows. The CW announced the renewals last week. All 5 of the DC shows on the network have all been renewed. That's The Flash, Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, Supergirl, and Black Lightning. Other notable renewals are Supernatural, Jane the Virgin, and Riverdale. Supernatural will be going into its 14th season on the network. No word yet for the mid-season series, iZombie and The 100, but we won't know their fate until May when the shows wrap up their seasons. Now, let's take it to my review of the Netflix original film, Game Over Man.
That's what we should be doing. We should be chugging champagne.
We should be wearing diamonds, collecting albino pythons.
I'm over here, I'm holding onto the poop side of this scrubber.
Game Over Man is a Netflix original movie that came out this year. The film follows 3 housekeepers at a luxury hotel in Los Angeles who are trying to get their video game financed. While at a party, their potential benefactor for the video game gets taken hostage by terrorists, almost like a Die Hard type of scenario. The trio are then forced to rise to the occasion and save the lives of the hostages in the building. From there, the film spirals into relentless vulgarity, plenty of outrageous action, and cliches. Game Over Man comes from the guys who created the Netflix series Workaholics, which I think is pretty funny, so I decided to try out Game Over Man. And for the most part, I was disappointed. The 3 main characters, played by the comedy trio Adam Devine, Anders Holm, and Blake Anderson, had nice chemistry on screen. I think the 3 did a good job of playing off of one another in a genuine way. Adam Devine always plays a silly character that keeps me entertained, but that's about the only thing, in my opinion, that this movie did well. This is a movie where as soon as the characters get out of trouble, they are instantly thrown into another outlandish situation. The movie did have like 3 or 4 actual good laughs, but that is not impressive given the fact that the movie was a comedy. I found it was mostly filled with overused scenes and vulgar gags. Like, I asked myself what the heck I was watching multiple times throughout the movie, and if you've seen it, you will understand what I mean. I just found myself not laughing at this movie, and I like outrageous comedies, but this movie was so full of cliches and over-the-top scenes that I became less impressed as the movie unfolded. Also, there was no reason for the characters to do what they were doing. There was no character growth or arc, there was no lesson learned. The 3 dudes were exactly the same at the end of the movie as they were at the beginning, and it left me feeling unfulfilled at the end. I wanted a more in-depth story, and this movie didn't deliver that. Overall, this movie just didn't do it for me. I did enjoy watching it with my friends, and I'm sure this movie checks the boxes for some movie watchers, but I'm going to give it a 5. It's a comedy that I did not laugh enough at. I found it was predictable, outrageous, and immature for the most part. If you want an R-rated movie that has tons of action and spoofs that you can watch with your buddies, or if you are an Adam Devine fan, then try this movie out. You may like it more than me. They're making a second movie, Game Overboard, and I suppose I'll watch it when it comes out in hopes that the movie delivers a more creative script. This has been Mary Grace Rice reviewing for Nerd Central. Thanks, me. That's going to do it for this week's Nerd Central. Nerd Showdown is next, and you can get caught up on all of the previous episodes on the KNWT YouTube page. Also, follow KNWT on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and follow Nerd Central on Twitter at nerd_central_TV. The battle between Goku and Superman is coming up after the break. Stay with us.
Hello and welcome to Nerd Showdown, the part of Nerd Central where we battle it out on a particular topic we have no business debating. I'm your host Taz Huggins, and this week we have the return of anime to settle the argument, Goku or Superman. Keep in mind, our fighters will be diving deep into their respective characters' backstory. So this is your spoiler warning. Let's introduce the fighters. To my right, fighting for Goku, I have moderator of Showdown, Devin Van Zant. And to my left, fighting for the son of Krypton, I have our producer, Andy Johnson. Fighters, you know the rules. What am I saying? You guys made the rules. Let's show down. Okay, Devin, your time starts now.
Okay, so first I'm going to cover Goku's biological advantages. For the first part, he is a Saiyan, which means he is extra durable and built for battle. He actually has the advantage of having a lust for battle. He would fight Superman just for the sake of fighting Superman because it's fun. Goku also has the advantage of Zenkai, which is an ability that all Saiyans have where if he is killed or beaten to near death, he gets an exponential power boost. On top of that, Goku has Ultra Instinct as a transformation, which means that he has basically the ability to dodge, block, or return any attack that comes at him without having to think. Ultra Instinct removes the brain from the situation and just lets the body fight on its own, so Goku would not be making any planned movements. He's allowed to endanger citizens, whereas Superman would not be able to be, because Goku can wish people back with any number of the sets of Dragon Balls. So collateral damage is no issue with Goku, and neither is death. He's faster than the Dragon Ball analogous of the Flash. He's stronger than the Dragon Ball analogous of Superman. He is literally stepped over the realm of the gods with Ultra Instinct, and when he achieves it, the gods stand in recognition of his power. He absolutely beat the crap out of the only mortal that could beat a god of destruction, Jiren, who is supposed to be Superman, supposedly, and he's just a monster.
Okay, Andy, and your 2 minutes begins now.
All right, so I'm going to tell you guys about Superman. So, one, Superman is the very first DC character ever created. So he's been there for a while. So after his first kill, I'm gonna go into the movies. The first kill with Zod, he vowed to never kill again. Like he only had to kill because he was going to kill innocents. He's very recognizable. Like you guys can see with the S. Like anybody in any walk of life will see the S and say that's Superman. Like they understand the symbol for Superman. A symbol for everybody to just look at and be like, I know that guy, he's great.
So the thing about Superman, I'm just going to outline some of the flaws that Goku could take advantage of. Superman is weak to red sun radiation. He can't be in any system that has a red star. It actually can even poison him in some situations. Everybody knows he's weak to kryptonite. I'm just going to keep that out of the debate. That's sort of the obvious answer is, oh, Goku gets the Dragon Balls and he wishes for kryptonite and then the battle's over. So I don't feel like that's a fair fight. He is weak to magic, however. Shazam once knocked Superman out with 2 punches when he caught him off guard. And the major thing about Superman is that he's not an experienced fighter. Superman relies on the fact that he has raw Kryptonian yellow sun strength because most of his villains don't come close to being even a threat. But the problem is Superman knows very little martial arts. He's had very little tactical training like maybe, say, Batman. He's not a good planner. He just uses raw power. And the other thing that is really interesting about Superman is that his invincibility can actually be removed by vibrations, which you can actually crush Superman's skull if you got to vibrate him at the right frequency, which I think the speed of Ultra Instinct might be able to do. Superman's basically greatest power against Goku is to use his solar flare, which would drastically drain Superman's power and have a very low chance of killing Goku. Like I said, Superman's goal isn't even to kill Goku because he doesn't kill. But even if he did, it wouldn't matter because Goku can either take Superman to Otherworld with him or come back from Otherworld to continue the fight. And if he did bring Superman to Otherworld, then he wouldn't have any yellow sun radiation because he's in literal another dimension. Goku can achieve vibrations through both sound, and Goku's a martial arts technical master. He's a genius, a savant, and he can copy any technique.
That Superman has been tested with some of his enemies like Doomsday and Brainiac. Not necessarily Lex Luthor, because Lex Luthor's just a human, so like there's not much you can do with a human. But like General Zod, who's also another Kryptonian, like he's been up against stuff that's either been, equal him in Zod or like more powerful than him in like Doomsday and Brainiac. So I believe that he would find a way to defeat Goku in some way.
That's gonna do it for Showdown, and the winner is I'm gonna have to go with Devin Van Zant's defending Goku.
It feels good. It feels good to have the winner in his rightful place. Our hero, the champion, Goku of Earth.
You can head to Nerd Central's Twitter to share your support for this week's Showdown. Nervigating is coming up next. See you next week on Nerd Central. Maybe.
Thank you for watching this episode of Nerd Central. If you didn't watch last week's episode, you can click right here. To watch Nerdmageddon's latest episode, you can click right there. And if you like all of KNWT's content, click the subscribe button right over there. We'll see you guys next week.